Mhuri yeZimbabwe makadi zvenyu pano pachivhitivhiti chenyu patiri kukunzirai nyaya hombe iyo iri kubuda mushure mekunge vaJacob Mudenda avo vakatsamwa nekuda kwema MPs asiri kuuya kuma parliament sittings, izvo zvakonzeresa kuti vaJacob Mudenda vazobudiswa nyaya dzavo mubepa kuti ndo zviripo. Tiri kurudzira kuti kana muri vatsva garai masubscribe motena on notification bell kuti patinoposta mavideos muwe muri wekutanga kuona mavideos edu pano pachivhitivhiti chenyu chenyika. Mamiriro azvakaita ndeyekuti zviri kunzi izvoni pachivhitivhiti chenyu, Jacob Mudenda angry as MPs dodge party sittings. Speaker of the Parliament, Advocate Jacob Mudenda, is annoyed with the member of parliament who are dodging party sittings, saying stiffer measures will be implemented to force the lawmakers to attend. He expressed his frustration during Thursday's sitting. I noticed that the numbers are not speaking to our actual numbers. Chief whisper, our numbers are not what they ought to be on both sides. Can this matter be corrected? I do not want to be drawn to a situation where we have to ask the sergeant at arms to analyze the presence. There are no committees at the moment and the public hearings are over, Mudenda affirmed. Most of the absentee MPs were declared in 2023 elections, with a majority of them in support of the extension of the term to 2030. Besides lawmakers, ministers are also known for dodging, particularly the Wednesday question and answer session. And Mudenda has since raised the issue with the President Emerson Mnangagwa. In 2026, FM stereo news continue to provide dependent fact-based reporting in Zimbabwe and beyond. So ndofunga muri Zimbabwe nyaya iri kubva kuZFM stereo ndo kwairi kubva kuti munyatsonzwisati tikuitora papi iri kubva kuZFM stereo ndo vari kutipa nyaya iyi kuti tinge tichikuwaridzirai tichikuonesai zvinhu zviri kuitika. So kwaizikanwa ari maminista noDaniel Garwe wanga asingauye nevamwe vakasiyana siyana, but izvozvizvi nyaya yakuma MPs futi havachauya vakutocha nekuda kwezvinhu zviri kuvavhiringidza, sezvo muri kuziva kuti maMPs akawanda magold dealer vari kuitawo maproject avo vari kubaiba. So ndozviri kunzi asi Jacob Mudenda zviri kunzi akatsamwa nenyaya iyoyo. Naizvozvo imi hamene munofunge chii panyaya iyi? Tinokumbira kuti mutiudzewo mafungiro enyu sezvo muri ndimi makavhotera maMPs iwayo.
As a way to create a posture of civic discipline. We want to interrogate things with rigor. We want to acknowledge the public controversies without being consumed by them. This is why I brought Rutendo here. Because, there's this, sideshow thing, that is happening. But I'm not saying that that is not important. Yes, it occupies a lesser position vis-a-vis the things, that matters, most, which is that amendment, number 3. And we want to start to be looking at people who distinguish accountability and distraction. And above all, the most important thing is for us to retain again and again, no matter what comes out, no matter what is brought into the public sphere, we want to return again and again to the center. The center is the constitutional moment that is before us. That is what is important. And that is what, we want to achieve by the end of this conversation tonight. So to my brother Rutendo, you know what's coming. But I want you to realize that everything can be said and done. But the moment that we are standing or where we are at the present moment, it is a moment, it is a constitutional moment. And we need to center our conversation around that. A lot has happened. Since Emerson Mnangagwa sat in that cabinet meeting, since he said that, we need this, to go through the whatever processes that needs, to happen, we are understanding the importance of time. Time is not on our side. And events are unfolding. Zvinhu zviri kutoitika, takatarisa, takavarairwa. But we need to get to the center of that conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I want to welcome you into the space. Rutendo, Zurise.
Uncle Jed, thank you so much for the invitation. you know,
Eh,
I, I,
uri uri
I,
achi ne uri achi enemy yangu here yo kana kuti.
Wangu, I think the fact that I'm on your show today is your
Yes.
so-called arch enemy
Right.
is a symbol of the importance of what we are about to do.
Absolutely.
Our nation has been divided for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
It has been fashionable for us to call each other enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been fashionable for us to ensure that if I'm your enemy, we do not share ideas, we do not talk. I don't come to your show. You don't invite me.
Mm,
But I think we have reached a point in our nation's history where we've had to put differences aside
mm,
and understand that unity is more important in nation building than polarization, for us to get to a moment where we break down these barriers that have divided us and we come
absolutely.
together to start fighting for one cause, which is our national interest. And once we are looking at our national interest, you're looking at your future, my future, your children's future, and my children's future. And we're having to hold hands in the process beyond party affiliation, beyond ideological affiliation, towards the human interest of having a commonwealth that works.
Mm, absolutely. Yeah. I think we are going to be having that tonight, and we'll make sure that that happens. Move Titus. Muri say go move.
Greetings, Nyamashusha. As we say,
Aiwa ango daru guri say go muri go.
and all we good, we good. I hope you had a good birthday.
Aiwa, it was excellent. Even though I ended up doing most of the cooking.
We saw you doing what you do best after the mic.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, here we are. We've got Rutendo on the platform tonight.
Mhm.
Yes. So Rutendo, I want to before we I want to be methodical with how we engage in this conversation, because the controversies, the public controversies, the question that have arisen has not escaped the public attention, and certainly they've not escaped me. We have seen narratives being written. We have seen conversations, being had. So much, was said. But I want to ask you this as a starting point. That I understand that there's been a wave of public criticism directed at you from various figures. I'm not mentioning, any names, and without going into personal disputes. How do you interpret the timing and intensity of these, reactions, given what you have been riding on, the constitutional amendment, number 3? Over to you,
Thanks.
Rudent.
Thanks, Jed. Thanks. For me, controversies are very good and very important at times because what happens is that rumors give people an opportunity or a window to introspect and to interrogate the personality, character, and values of a person that is being presented in front of them. So if you're running for office, if you're a politician, and if you come up with public ideas that you become a public figure or an opinion maker, there is going to be controversies that are going to follow you. And when these controversies follow you, people have to ask questions, they've got to interrogate, and then they've got to vet which of the things that are said about you are true, which ones are false. And at the end of the day, within that interrogation, people get to know who you are, your personality, your character. Now, we live in a country of people who are self serving. Zimbabweans are known to be self centered, self serving, especially the most motivated and the most ambitious of us. We are about self. I'm about making money. I'm about trying to develop myself to the highest possible standard I can, get as many accolades, get as many comforts. That is generally the character of the Zimbabwean. And this character has gradually eroded our society. You can no longer go to the police and simply get somebody to do an affidavit for you without asking for a bribe. You can even get to the police station and tell you that the people who do these affidavits are not there because you don't have a cool drink in hand. And it has become such a corrosive characteristic in our country and in our society that we no longer have a moral base. We no longer have purpose and meaning. Everything is about self interest and gain.
Mm.
So when public figures introduce themselves to you, as a Zimbabwean, it is imperative for you to test their character, to test their standing, to test their value system, because you could easily just fall in for anybody who is just self-serving, looking to use people and looking to step on people in order to get with where they want to get to.
Mm.
So for me, these controversies have two dual purposes. One is the intention of the parties that have brought up these controversies. And number two, the benefit to the people that are trying to test the character of Rutendo to determine
Right.
whether he is the righteous man that he presents himself to be, or is just another self-serving individual who's just looking to use people and numbers to get to where he wants to get to. So, from the perspective of the people that have started the controversy, the intention has been to reduce my standing
Hmm.
so that the argument I'm bringing to the table is eroded. They have to poke holes in my credibility. It's actually a psychological operation, a psyop that is being done by people who know what they're doing. He is presenting himself as a critique of a bill, but we want the people to think and consider whether he is righteous enough and has got the right intentions to be bringing this issue to them. And as such, you saw a number of controversies. The only
Mm.
problem with the psychological operation is it then added too many issues. Number one, he's a CIA agent. Number two, he's paid by he's paid by Simon Radland. Number three, he's bitter
Yes.
that he did not get $1 million and a Land Cruiser. Number four, he's bitter
And
that
$4
he didn't
million.
get paid.
Yeah? I've had $4 million. Come on now. Yeah. I don't know. Kumbiro mari kari kumkoma ni andoneyo kamdara.
Wangu. So the problem is that with the overzealousness and them being overwhelmed by my criticism and the points I was bringing up and their inability to poke holes in the argument, they went after me. But what they did is they were not coordinated.
Mm.
In the heat of the moment, in the shock of events, and in their masters trying to get a result, each one came with a different angle. He brought investors from South Africa. His investors did not follow process and they were arrested and deported from Zimbabwe. He's bitter about that. So people who were looking, they could have interrogated whether these issues were really about my personality flaws, my self-interest, my greediness, but there were too many issues put in their faces all at once to the extent that the credibility of these allegations started to become questionable.
Right.
Then, of course, once the frivolous charges began to lose credence, they then began to take personalities to use against me. And that's when you saw,
Ah.
I won't hesitate to say some of the names. You saw Temba Mliswa waking up at 3 in the morning yesterday to write something to say, I am an extortionist trying to extort people in order for me to make money. And soon after that, on the same day, at about 4 in the morning, and you wonder, who are these people who are not sleeping at night? To the
Right.
extent that they wake up and start making allegations and posts. And these are men with rather reasonable standing in society. I mean, Temba was an MP. That's a respectable position. And when he was an MP, he fought corruption and he was very much about accountability. So when he attacks someone like me with such an allegation, it carries a bit of water. And in the same vein, we had Joshua Maponga also rising up to make allegations about the fact that I just make frivolous allegations on social media, talking about monies that I'm owed, yet I don't even have a receipt or an invoice to prove it. So right
Right.
there was built now the last constructs of an attack on my character that were supposed to stick. And because they know that I am dedicated to trying to drive this agenda of us looking at this cab bill, they felt that I would be conflicted. I would be ambivalent on whether to answer them or to continue to stick with my cause of talking about the cab issue. But they knew that if I choose to stick to the cab issue, I will
Uh-huh.
appeal to a certain audience who will say, wonderful, you have stuck to the role. But I would also then alienate a certain group that is important to them who will then question my character. And once they conclude that my character is flawed, will stop listening to the argument. And that was their own internal audience. The problem is that this argument is not that this argument is affecting the opposition and people opposed generally to government. The problem is that the argument is becoming persuasive internally among their own constituents and among their own leaders, who you heard Temba Mlisco complaining about that they are no longer defending the president and
The
they're
president.
advancing CAB 3.
Right.
So that message he wrote at 3 in the morning was an indication that the battle is not being lost outside. The
Is the cookie
battle,
crumbling? Are the cookies crumbling? Is this what you're telling me? Is this what you're telling me?
the
That
cookie
the
is
cookie is
crumbling
crumbling.
inside.
Right.
They are wondering why it is that certain high-ranking ZANU PF officials who are very vocal, who are very erudite in the way they communicate, are silent about